Okay, so we've gone through some of the basics of where everything is and how to create your classroom in Google Classroom. We've looked at adding an announcement to our stream for our students to see, and as you can see, we've got that announcement here that we created in a previous video. But what we're going to do now is add an actual assignment to this class for the students to do. So to do that, we go back down where we were before. We click on the plus sign, and then we're going to go up to create an assignment. All right, so this assignment is for Groundhog Day. So I've got some questions that I want to ask the students related to that. So put in my title for the assignment. This is a required element, and then below that you'll see there's a section for instructions, and that's completely optional. You don't have to have anything there. That's just up to you and your preference. If you tend towards the OCD side, you may want to include something in here. Also, if what you're expecting is fairly complex, you may want to try to lay that out as best you can here. Or if you know that you've got students out that are going to have questions, you can try to alleviate some of those questions here in the instructions. I'm not going to put anything on this one because I think the assignment is pretty self-explanatory. I just have one question in there that I want them to answer. So what I'm going to do is choose a due date. Since Groundhog Day was Friday, I'm going to give them a week to get it done. So I'm going to say that it's due February 9th. I can even set a time if I want to. If I want to make sure they've got until midnight to get it done, I can do that. Or if I want to have it due at the end of the period that day. So if their third hour and third hour ends at 10:25, I could put 10:25 a.m. on that and say that anything after that would be late. So at this point, I've got my due date. I've got a due time on there. And then I can also add this to a topic. And so this one is just going to be miscellaneous. So I'm going to have that as my topic. The next thing I want to do is actually add the assignment component to it. And in this case, it's a Google Doc that I'm going to add. What I've done ahead of time, and you can see it up here, I've created a Google Doc that has my question on it. And so you can see, here's the question. Just last week was Groundhog Day, and one of the traditions is at Punxsutawney Phil, a groundhog will come out of his burrow and predict the changing of seasons. What is the seasonal forecast predicted by Punxsutawney Phil? And so I want them to just answer that question to the best of their ability. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to add this to it. So the way I do that, I come here and click on my Google Drive. And then it automatically comes up to the recent ones. And so I'm going to click on that one. That's the one I want to add. And just simply hit add. It's going to put a placeholder in there. And then if you look here, I have a few options that I want to explore. The first option is that students can view the file. So if, as part of the assignment, you just want to provide the instructions to them, and then they're responsible for creating their own document or whatever they need to add to it and turn in, this is the option I would do. The students can view file. The students can edit file. That one is probably one I would not do unless I created an individual page for every single student. I don't want to do that. That's going to be time consuming. This also might work in group settings. So if I say group 1, here's your file, and then they can go in and edit and do as they need to, and then group 2 and group 3 and so on. That's where that students can edit file I think would be a good choice. The third one is the one that I'm probably going to do most of the time, but make a copy for each student. And so what that does, when I assign in just a minute, it will create a folder for this assignment, and then it will also make a copy of this page for every single student in the class. And so it does that all in the background, all behind the scenes. So they've got their own copy that they can do whatever they want to with, and edit and add links, whatever it is that you've required them to do in that assignment, it will do there. So when I come over here, just like on the announcement one, I can post it, I can schedule it, or I could save it as a draft. Same thing here. I can assign it, I can schedule it, I can save it as draft. I want to go ahead and assign this. That way they've got it now, and they've got plenty of time to work on it, and it cuts down on some of their excuses, especially since it's due on February 9th. So I hit assign, and then it's going to go through the process of making a copy for each of them. You can see right here, this is the teacher stream again. It took me back to my stream page. You can see that I don't have any students in the class, and so it doesn't give me any count here as far as who's done and who's not done. But I can see here that each student will get a copy. So as soon as I've got students in this class, we'll start to see some numbers here. And so the not done would be your total number of students in the class, and then as they're completing it, you can see that count shifting over. Also, if you'll notice, our topics list has grown, and then we still have our stream option down here to show deleted items. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on just in case, but since I've only done 2 here so far in this one, there's not anything really to see. All right, so that is the basics of adding an assignment. And you can come back in and not just add that document, but if you have a video that goes with it, you can add that as well. If you have another attachment or some other links that you want to include, those can all be added in as part of the assignment. So that's really the basics of creating an assignment and assigning it to your class. If we go back into this and edit the assignment, you see here where I had for all students before. If I had students in the class, I could go through and change that and just assign it to, let's say 5 kids. So that's where the group work one would come in. So if I've got 5 kids in a group and I say this is group 1's page for them to work on, then I'm just going to mark that for those 5 kids, for whoever's in group 1. And then I'd come back and I'd use the reuse option, reuse this assignment, but then go ahead and change it for group 2 and probably add a different document so that they're not overwriting each other's work. So I'm going to hit save. So this will put it back on my stream, and at this point we are ready to go with this assignment, and it's ready for students to be in the class and work on it.